Hello, this is Daniel from Hellbeam Design, and this month I will show you how to make a smoking pipe with simple tools and exotic wood. I will go through all of the steps in detail, from how I designed the pipe and the box to how I stain and wax the smoking pipe. If you learned something from this video, please comment or subscribe to my channel. Enjoy! This is called Briar root. It is extremely hard, dense and heat resistant, and it is primarily used for making smoking pipes, as it does not affect the aroma of the tobacco inside. The football side tubers are harvested at the age of about 30 to 60 years, and then they're cooked for several hours and dried for several months before they are further processed. The wood is also used for making jewelry, fountain pens and knife handles. I start by drawing out the edge of the smoking pipe to create an image on how big it will be. The pipe that I will make in this video is for a customer who has turned 30 years old, where his friends have ordered this for him without his knowledge. Before I started with this pipe, we took the time to agree on a really good design. After a couple of suggestions, we agreed on what the final product should look like, and for this design we will add a silver ring around the mouthpiece of the smoking pipe to create a very durable and aesthetic smoking pipe. When I have finished drawing the outside of the pipe, I will design the bowl and the smoking channel and the hole for the mouthpiece. The pipe will be handmade, which means that I have all the freedom to carve it exactly how I want it to be. It is important that the bowl has a good round bottom and that there is a sufficiently large smoke channel. The bowl will be 20 mm wide and the smoke channel is 2.5 mm. Since I will be hand carving this pipe with simple tools, I chose to remove as much as possible with a handsaw first before I start with the power carving. I recommend that you save the sawn off material so that you can test different stains and finishes on it. I can really recommend buying a simple vise if you're going to do a project like this, or it is really nice to have a sturdy workbench like this. I bought this bench for like $40 on Facebook Marketplace. The purpose of making these videos is to show you how easy it is to start creating things with simple tools. If you are interested in creating your own tobacco pipe, you will learn a lot in this video by not making the same mistakes I've previously made when creating my previous pipes. When I've sawed off enough material, then it's time to draw out where to drill a hole for the bowl in the pipe and to draw the edge of the pipe body from above, so I can easily carve the body later. I also draw out where to drill the hole for the mouthpiece, as well as the smoke channel that goes into the bowl. In this case, it is even more important to measure this right and to drill this right, as I will attach the silver ring to the nozzle. I need to save some material in this step and then slowly grind away just the right amount of wood for the ring to get a snug fit. And now you will get to meet the channel's first sponsor, Dremel. Dremel has sent me some products, accessories and especially their cordless multi-tool 8260. Dremel will be in my upcoming videos not only because they sponsored me, but because I really think that they make really good tools. The drill press jig in the background is perfect now when I have to drill the first hole for the bowl in the pipe. The hole needs to be 90 degrees to the material. There are many accessories for the Dremel, and in this case we will use one of their wood drills. I put it in the drill press and then I drill the first hole. It is important that the first hole is straight, as I will now drill with larger and larger drill bits to achieve the full diameter and the depth of the hole. If the first hole is off, it will be very difficult to get the others straight. These drill bits are standard wood drill bits from the hardware store. The last drill bit is a special drill I bought from a pipe maker. If you don't want to buy a special drill, you could watch my first pipe video. In that video I show you how to make your own bowl drill bit using an old wood drill and an angle grinder. The hole for the bowl turned out really well. Then I will drill the hole for the mouthpiece and later the smoke channel. When you order an acrylic mouthpiece like this, you get to choose the size of the tenon. Some you can put smoke filters in and others are completely filterless. I personally recommend choosing a tenon with a standard drill bit diameter. In this case the hole will be exactly the same diameter as the tenon, which means that it is immediately a fairly tight fit. You can counteract this by driving the drill a little bit more into the hole or sanding down the tenon a little. And now we make the smoke channel. I have bought a special drill bit for this as well and for my upcoming pipe making videos. This drill bit is 2.5 millimeters thick and very sharp. Often when I demonstrate something at my real job, everything goes as perfectly as it can, even though it's been a long time since I actually practiced it. This also apparently applies when I make YouTube videos, because every time I drill a difficult hole in my videos I hit it perfectly freehand. I attach the mouthpiece and try blowing air into it to see if the hole is okay. I mark where the silver ring should be and which parts I can quickly remove with a handsaw, to avoid having to carve away those parts later with the multi-tool. I also mark where the outer edge will be on the pipe body so I can easily carve it away with the Dremel. Then we pick out the large kit Dremel sent. This box contains everything you need to start your project, as well as 2 batteries and a charger. To carve the pipe body I will use these 2 accessories, a cutter and a grinding wheel. The golden cutter is one of Dremel's premium accessories. I bought this myself to test it out. The other one is one of the regular grinding wheels Dremel provides, with K60 as well as K120. Carving this pipe with a multi-tool is a lot of fun. This tool is also battery powered, which means that you can sit basically anywhere and do this. During the carving itself I had to change the battery once, which I think is good enough. If you like watching videos with honest reviews, I suggest you subscribe to this channel. All my future sponsorships will be completely transparent and I will say exactly what I think about the product. A good way to see if I like a product is if you see me using it often. Subscribing also helps me by showing that you like this type of video. Likes, comments and subscriptions help me a lot in my planning work for upcoming videos. After I again quickly saw away material with the handsaw, I can go back to carving with the Dremel. As I begin to approach the center, I draw a line where the outer edge of the silver ring is. To achieve perfect precision, I lay down the Dremel now and use a rasp to slowly remove material for the silver ring. If I fail at this point and the ring fits badly, I will have to redo the entire pipe body, which I actually, spoiler alert, had to do with the first pipe body I made. Not this one, but the one you see in the background in some clips. As you can see, it is progressing very slowly so as not to fail this nozzle a second time. Once I'm done, I dry fit the parts to see if it is a snug fit, which it is in this case. Great success. When I shape the body, you have to do it in several steps. First, it is roughly shaped, then I move on to the sanding wheels with 60 and 120 grit sandpaper. Then I move on to flattening the top of the pipe. I also do this with a rasp to achieve a completely flat top. When I'm almost done, I sand the top of the pipe body on a piece of sandpaper. Then I do the same thing with the whole body of the pipe. I am constantly working towards finer and finer sandpaper, and I believe that the last level I did was about 600 grit sandpaper. The sanding of this product was the part that took by far the most time. It is also, in my opinion, the most important thing to achieve a really good product. Many pipe makers use large lathes or really powerful bench grinders to make their pipes. These pipes will of course be really good, as it is difficult to fail with such good tools, as long as you know what you're doing. At the moment, I still consider myself to be using tools that many DIYers would use on their own projects, but that may not always be the case if things continue to go perfectly well for me in terms of business as well as here on YouTube. I'm looking forward to what is to come, and I hope that you will join me on that journey. As you saw in the beginning of this video, the pipe had a completely different color to what it has now. I achieved this with a product that is actually used to dye leather. On the small piece on the left you can see how the same wood looks after 2 stainings with this product. It's a color I want to achieve on the pipe body. I take the pipe apart and start preparing the surface for staining. You don't want to spill this stain on something nice, as it is very difficult to remove from anything. Sometimes when I make videos I make hand signals to show important things. This hand signal indicates that it is important to wear gloves when working with this product, I think. I shake the bottle, even though I probably don't need to, then I open it and start applying the stain to the pipe with a pipe cleaner. This is a very cool process, as there is a really strong contrast between the regular color of the wood and the end result. You also get a pretty good picture of what the pipe will look like in the end when you stain it. I do this twice, and I wipe it off with paper in between each time. The stain dries very quickly as it is alcohol based. While the pipe body dries one last time, it is time to turn this boring silver ring into a real silver ring by polishing it up properly. Once again we take out the Dremel and open up the box. The upper floor of the box contains the tool with batteries and the charger, and the lower part contains all of the accessories, big and small. In the small accessory box are all the polishing discs and the small bars to attach the different or various tools to. I take out the right tools and start putting them together. The thing I like about this multi-tool and the box is that it is so versatile. The box comes with a lot of accessories and there is plenty to buy in addition to that. For this model, the 8260, you can connect it to your phone using Bluetooth. With the app you can choose different materials and what to do with the material. The app shows you which accessories you can use and which speed you should run the multi-tool at to achieve the best result. You can also set the speed of the tools through the app. To achieve a good result with the polishing, I put on a little polishing paste on the polishing disc. This paste grinds the material very lightly to remove the dark, ugly oxidation. The polishing gives quick results, and I will get closer and closer to the end goal. I am so pleased with this pipe right now that I often put it together during the manufacturing process to see how well it will turn out. I can also advise you to dry assemble what you're building sometimes and think through the next step properly before doing it to prevent you from failing your projects by making simple mistakes like I did. To attach the silver ring I use epoxy. This epoxy is very easy to work with and has received the best overall rating when joining wood with metal. I have very lightly sanded the inside of the silver ring to create some grooves for the epoxy to harden in. It is very important when working with epoxy that you mix it properly. When it's ready, I start putting epoxy on the nozzle. And now a close-up. The difference between building things for clients compared to yourself and your family is huge. Not because of the quality, but because of the feeling of wanting to create something perfect. When you manufacture something, you yourself see all the mistakes you make, while the clients will never ever see the product in the same way as me. This pipe has very few faults in my opinion and no mistakes according to others. When I made this pipe, I had a feeling of something similar to like anxiety when I'm making it. Anxiety is a feeling I very rarely feel otherwise, as I have a pretty high tolerance to it. So it's actually kind of exciting to go into difficult projects just like this, just to challenge myself. The ring fits perfectly on the nozzle and the epoxy will make it stay on forever. Now I start with the last details on the pipe. To mark the underside, I use leather punches. This is a very simple solution for labeling a product and it requires some precision to get it right. Labeling a product makes it completely personal. In this case, I will mark the pipe with the customer's initials and how old he is. I fill in the letters with a pencil to make them stand out more. Before I chose to punch in the customer's initials, I thought about engraving it with a laser. I searched long and hard but could not find any company that would engrave the pipe with a shorter notice. I have now tried to learn a bit about laser engravers but would be very grateful for any tips. If you have any tips, please comment on this video. I always read all the comments on my videos. I have currently responded to every single comment I have received here on YouTube. To protect the pipe against dirt and moisture, I will wax it. This block is called carnauba wax, and carnauba wax is an inexpensive food-safe wax that is very resistant to wear and tear. This wax is found in most car waxes and in many food products. The wax requires frictional heat or a heat gun to be applied to the polishing disc. The polishing disc is a very simple model, but it works great. The carnauba wax gives a nice shine. The wax is used by both amateurs and professionals. It can be applied in several ways, where another way compared to this is to add the carnauba wax powder and heat the pipe body with a heat gun so that it melts into the wood. Exactly as I show here. This method requires buffing out any excess very carefully to a smooth shine. When the client ordered this gift, we agreed to make an accessory box for everything needed to smoke and maintain the pipe. I came up with a design and bought myself a piece of oak. The goal is to build a box that is both aesthetic and practical. I was given completely free rein in terms of design and I chose to saw down this oak plank with a straight edge and then divide it into 4 parts. After that, I removed the bark with the angle grinder with a sanding disc adapted for sanding wood. A hot tip is to sometimes blow out your angle grinder with compressed air when you sand a lot of wood with it. The dust otherwise clogs the engine, which happened to me after this clip. I sent the angle grinder in for warranty repair and got it back with the comment that I should clean it more often. It is important to never stop learning new things. If you'd watched this video so far and learned something, you might as well subscribe right now. I will continue to post videos like this, and your subscription, comment or like will help me to show this video to more and more people on YouTube. If you dislike the video, you can also give me a dislike, which YouTube still counts as an interaction. All publicity is good publicity, as they say. To fill cavities in the wood, I use Epodex Ultra Clear Pro Epoxy. I have used this epoxy for a few projects recently and I'm quite satisfied with it. It becomes very transparent and it is easy to sand and polish. I chose to use epoxy because I think it's an interesting material to work with. Extremely durable, and it gives something extra compared to just having wood in this project. Being able to see clearly where all the cavities has been gives a perspective on the material itself. Not all wood is perfect, and it's cool to be able to use this type of wood for a project like this. The epoxy must then harden for at least 72 hours at the correct temperature before starting to work with it. I let it cure for about a week before touching it again to make sure it's ready. After a week I take the pieces out and I tape the lid together with the bottom to be able to shape them exactly the same with my miter saw. It would have helped me a lot to have a good table saw in this case, but it works almost as well with a miter saw. Once the outer edges are square, I sand the box quickly to remove chips. Then I lay out the bottom and lay out all the accessories so I can see that it will fit neatly. Then I will cut out the compartments for all the accessories, and I want to make some compartments a little bit bigger in case the client wants to replace some accessories over time. I draw the outer edges of the accessories roughly to later make nice straight lines with a large ruler and an angle iron. And here comes a hot tip for those of you who want to learn how to find the center point of a circle you've drawn. First you draw 2 lines of exactly the same length within the outer edge of the circle. Then you mark the center of both of those lines. Then you take your angle iron and place it against the point you just drew and draw a line 90 degrees towards the center. When you have done this on both lines, the lines will cross and you will have your midpoint. Then I drill a hole in the middle of the circle to be able to attach my next attachment for my Dremel, the plunge router kit. With this kit you can turn your Dremel into a small simple plunge router. Dremel has its own small kit of router bits to cover the most common needs. The Dremel is certainly not strong enough, but it is very easy to do smaller, finer jobs with. So in this case I use it to make the outer edge of the circle and on the other compartments for the accessories, to later be able to do the hard work with my big handheld Bosch router. Did you know that the brand Bosch actually owns Dremel? This Bosch router is a really good tool too. It does the job well at a very good price. All the tools I use in this video I'll link to in the description of this video. These are affiliate links, so I get a small percentage of anything you choose to buy after you click the link. This is also a very easy way to sponsor me without actually donating money directly to me. Buy yourself a tool, you deserve it. Even if the tools are good, they are not perfect. In this case, the slot for the pipe is not deep enough as the router bit is not long enough. I solved this by making a exactly same hole in the underside of the lid of the accessory box. I copy over the lines to the lid and mill out everything with the router. One of the minimum requirements I impose on myself when I sand or use my router is that I have a mouth guard or mouth protection against sanding dust. Some types of wood are downright toxic to inhale and are cancerogenic. The lid fits perfectly and I make the corners 90 degrees with the help of a chisel. When the corners are done, I start the process of removing all the burn marks from the milling. This is done very easily with the Dremel and the sanding wheels. At the bottom of the box I use this soft sanding disc which worked perfectly for this purpose. However, these discs become dull very quickly, so be careful not to make new burn marks with them. I round off the edges easily with the Dremel and one of their own small router bits. I recommend running the multi-tool at a high speed when working with the various router bits. After I arrange the edges, I lightly sand the inside of the box by hand and remove the sanding dust with my shop rake. And now there will be a small jump in the video because you viewers don't prefer to watch me sand this box. YouTube Analytics tells me that you tend to skip this step, so I'm removing it entirely. All for you viewers. Instead we skip ahead to when I will put the brass details on the box. You will now see me attach a couple of really nice details, and you will see why I hate working with brass as well. Brass is very nice and nice to look at, but very soft compared to other metals. Using brass was entirely my own choice. I think it looks very nice, especially with the natural hard wax oil. I will apply it to the box afterwards. To remove exactly the right amount of material, I used a drill press jig for the multi-tool. I can easily set it so that it don't remove too much material, and after milling with the multi-tool, I will finish the edges with a chisel. When the edges are good, I pre-drill the holes for the brass screws, as I know that brass is quite difficult to work with, as they break easily. Sometimes when you buy brass screws, you get a hard metal screw that is identical, so you can pre-screw with the hard metal one, so that the brass screw later has perfect notches in its own holes. The first screw goes in without a problem, while the cap of the second screw comes completely off due to high torque from the machine. A good lesson is to only turn brass screws by hand. Luckily, removing this screw was quite simple. In the worst case you have to drill it out, which then creates rather ugly holes that need to be hidden. And here you can see that even though the hole is pre-drilled and I pull the screw by hand, the top of the screw comes off, which is incredibly frustrating, but part of the process. I spoke earlier that you can feel anxiety when you make something for someone else, and brass screws make me feel both joy and anger. So instead of going to couples therapy, I can recommend starting with woodworking to become one with your feelings. The hasp to keep the box closed has slightly thicker screws, which is very much appreciated. I mark out where the center of the front of the box is and proceed to mark out where each hole for the screw should be. I drill the holes with a Dremel. In my previous videos I always stated that my favorite tool is the angle grinder. You can do a lot of different things with an angle grinder. The Dremel is not my new favorite tool, but it is currently my most useful tool, which is a very good rating in itself. I can really recommend buying one. I attach the hasp by hand and close it. If you have any questions related to this video or any questions regarding anything else, comment on this video or visit my Instagram HalBeamDesign to get an insight into upcoming projects. I don't film everything I do right now because of how much time it takes. Hence, I prioritize the interesting projects for you viewers here on YouTube. Now we come to the step that you viewers usually prefer the most, just like me. Now it's time to put on the hard wax oil. The hard wax oil I use is a Swedish product that I think is very similar to Osmo's hard wax oil. This oil really gives the box a whole new look and makes the epoxy details completely crystal clear. Applying the hard wax oil can be almost hypnotizing. I recommend using good gloves and a good white pad. After you have applied this type of hard wax oil all over, carefully wipe off the excess with a cloth or paper. This hard wax oil is also suitable for application, although there may be some sanding dust left, so it doesn't have to be dust free to apply it. The rags must be soaked with water afterwards to prevent spontaneous combustion. I personally am very happy with the choice to use brass together with the brown oak. If you agree with me or think something else would be nice, please let me know in the comment field. I reply to all my comments. One of the goals of my videos is to create an interest in starting to make new things for yourself with simple tools. Learning new things all the time I think is important to do if you want to live a stimulating life. Thanks for watching this entire video and I hope you got something out of it. To finish, I will mention what each accessory is called in Swedish to increase your understanding. Feel free to comment on the correct spelling in the comment field. Tändstickor. Pipverktyg. Piprensare. Gubbjävelstobak. Rökpipa. I really like where this project went. Having free rein over how the project should look in the end is a very fun way to work. In the end, the customer was extremely satisfied. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.